Welcome everyone to a Prisoner of View Airsoft review. Today we'll be covering the Ares Amoeba AM-009 in tan, the automatic electric gun, AEG. This is a Canadian version. You notice on the sticker it says 430 FPS. We'll cover FPS later on in the review, but I believe that would be your maximum FPS for this gun, not necessarily typical what you'll get out of the box. So when you open your box, you're going to find your unjamming rod, you're going to find your PMag style magazine. In this case, it's a high cap magazine. I believe it's 300 rounds. It's got its little pull tab on the back, the little pseudo mag pull. Basically, high cap, you wind it on the bottom. It's got fake cartridges through the window. It'd be cool if you could actually see the BBs, your capacity in there somewhere, but that's not part of it. And basically, you load them through the top. So good quality magazine, a little noisy in the field obviously, but that's the trade-off with a high capacity magazine. Okay, then you're going to find the actual AEG itself. So this would be similar to the Ares Amoeba AM-013 Honey Badger. The main differences being the flash hider as opposed to the mock suppressor. You're going to have a metal foregrip as well as a adjustable kind of crane style stock with a larger battery capacity. That would be the main differences between the two. Everything else internally is very similar. Okay, speaking of battery, let's go right to it. So in the back you have this compartment. Basically you just pop that down, and then if you move the battery all the way to the stock all the way to the bottom, you can reach out and grab your connector. This is a small Tamiya style connector. I typically run a 7.4 volt LiPo stick battery in the main compartment. You could, I imagine, fit a nunchuck style battery in there. I haven't personally done that, but it looks like that would be one option for you. So once you're done with the battery, you can close it back up. Like I said, the stock is adjustable. There are quite a few points that you can adjust it to. I find for me, now I'm 5'11", got longer arms, I find that the second to last spot is good for me, but it all depends on what you need. Now to the back of the weapon, so you have a functioning charging handle. This reveals your hop-up unit as well. Now note there's no bolt lock on here, so you'll have to hold it back to adjust. Down this way for more hop, up for less hop. I can say the hop-up unit in this is very effective. We'll cover that a little bit more in detail when I get to the internals, but very good quality weapon. There's your ejection port, and then your forward assist, which actually does absolutely nothing in airsoft. Okay, so also on this side you have your magazine release. Now this is a very large button. For those of you that like to wear gloves, very effective. I like this feature a lot. Never had any issue getting a magazine in or out. It also has a certain amount of trademarks from Amoeba. Some of these I've actually filled in with white paint. You can see on the other side as well, has the same sort of deal. The fire selector switch, very clicky, nice action. I've never had it slip out or get stuck or not lock in. You basically have your basic functions, your safe, semi, and full auto. And there is actually a programmer that you can buy. It's about $80, I think, where you can go to, safe, semi, burst, safe, burst, auto, and then safe, semi. So if you're going to run this as a DMR, which I think is a good idea, then safe, semi is for most fields. If you're going to go above 400, you're going to want to switch to that. But that's a fairly basic thing. I wouldn't necessarily invest in one of those. I would find one that you can borrow. It only takes 2 minutes to use it, and then you're not going to use it again until you want to switch it back. One thing I wanted to cover with this is that it does have a quick change spring system. So basically you remove the battery, you can remove the rear stock, and there's a screw, Phillips head screw down inside the buffer tube. You remove that, you can pull all this out, and then you can actually unwind the back of the gearbox. There's a threaded plug back there that you pull it out, remove the screw and your spring. I believe the spring that comes with this is an M120. On this one, I'm getting about 395 feet per second stock. My Amoeba Honey Badger was about 385. So I think that might be attributed to the slightly longer barrel. I'm not quite sure, but overall strong FPS out of the box. But I've run this with a an M90 spring, and I was getting about 315, and with an M100 spring, I'm getting about, I would say 350 to 355. So a very good feature for this gun. Okay, so going back to the weapon, so you have a, like I said, a very grippy pistol grip. Lots of room in the trigger guard for people that wear gloves. Now, we'll cover a little bit about the internals. A couple of advantages that the Ares Amoeba series have is they have a built-in MOSFET, so it's LiPo ready. You can run a LiPo in this, no problem. And that MOSFET is actually what helps to change your fire selection. But the other main advantage is that it has this micro switch trigger. And I don't know if you can hear that very well, but it's just like clicking a mouse. It's very sensitive, very responsive, and as fast as you can pull that trigger, you're going to be firing downrange. So in semi-automatic, even with the stock motor, this thing is really good. Speaking of the motor, so it comes with a decent, what they call a high torque motor. I find that it warms up fairly quickly, depending on how much full auto or how quickly you're pulling the trigger. I've run this with an SHS high torque motor, which was excellent. So it's kind of up to the user what they want to do as far as those go. Okay. Hop-up unit, you can see inside the gearbox is actually sealed. That's the Ares sticker in there because this comes with a 1-year warranty, and which is really excellent. So you don't want to crack into that unless you really have to. And then the hop-up unit. The hop-up unit is very effective, like I said. I've run this with a Pro Win, but the standard hop is really good as well. Okay, so onto the rest of it. This top rail is metal. All the other rails, there's actually 4 that come with it. I've only have 2 mounted, but all the other rails are actually polymer. Like I said, this foregrip is, or the front guard, whatever you want to call it, is metal. It's very sturdy. It actually screws onto the body, and then it locks in with these six set screws. You want to be careful with that you don't loosen those up because you will get a lot of wobble. First time I gained this, I got some wobble, so make sure those are locked in and keep them tight. So these rails, you can actually adjust them to anywhere. You can go from straight down to the side to an oblique angle, quite flexible as far as where your rails go. One thing to note though is that the height of these rails are actually a little bit higher than this rail. So if you're trying to line up your sights, sometimes you'll have an issue where one set of rails is actually higher than the other, so you'll have to adjust for that. But just something to be aware of. These come with standard flip-up sights. These are not adjustable. There's no adjustment no matter what you do onto this. And the peephole is actually extremely small. I've drilled this out on a previous gun, but basically, for basic reference, not bad for what you get, but you might want to invest in some different sights or a red dot, or if you're running a DMR, maybe even a tactical scope. Okay, so like I said, very flexible with what you get. This flash hider is, I believe it's a 14 millimeter flash hider, but it is actually clockwise, so it is lefty loose, righty tight. So that's opposite of what you'll find in a lot of other guns as far as the flash hider goes. So you may need some sort of an adapter if you want to put a silencer on there, or find one that's a clockwise thread. Okay, what else can I tell you? So the inner barrel on this is, I measured it out, it's about 327 millimeters. It's a good quality. It actually is aluminum. It looks to me like it's aluminum. A lot of sites will tell you it's brass, but based on the looks of it, I would say it's aluminum. Good quality. The accuracy on this gun is amazing, both in the field and in CQB, and I attribute it a lot to both the hop-up unit and to that barrel. So you can swap it out if you'd like, but I would definitely, I wouldn't think twice about keeping that as stock either. Okay, so the gun functions really well. I found that this particular one, there's a little bit more motor whine, or gearbox whine, than say my other Amoeba was, the Honey Badger, but overall not bad at all. So it's a good gun, no issues. I highly recommend it. As far as in the field being competitive, I would say that this gun is competitive with any mid to low range gun that's out there. I would definitely say it is more bang for your buck than say like a combat machine or a Vulcan, one of the new Vulcan battle machines. Definitely a good gun. So highly recommend it, and I think you'll enjoy it if you end up buying it. So that concludes our review. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section, and we'll be happy to make some comments back. And we hope to be doing more reviews and some gameplay action. And so thank you again for tuning in to Prisoner of View Airsoft. Thank you very much. Have a great day.